Like and subscribe for 1000 years of good luck. Parents call the police because I won't speak to them. Okay. A few years ago, I was living 3,000 miles away from my folks. They have a habit of leaving an area if they are challenged, so it's normal. I was moved everywhere as a kid and don't have any roots because of it and no siblings to commiserate with. Anyway, they left this state and started a new life elsewhere, asking me to manage their estate here until it's sold. I did amongst my job and family and life. Their real estate agent calls them and says someone is in the house. Me, taking care of the pool and boxing personal shit they left behind, and I get calls yelling at me for allowing people in the house, and I'm a cunt for not protecting their stuff, as I'm sleeping on their hardwood so no one breaks in. I get tired of the hate and say I'm done. Do it yourself and move on. 3. I have cops with guns drawn invading my house on a welfare check because I won't speak to them. Cops could have killed my dogs and me over not answering the phone. Jesus. Edit. Wow. This got way more attention than I expected. Thanks guys. I will try to answer everyone I can after work. Edit 2. I'll let y'all know the outcome. After the police left, I was absolutely livid. I called them and told them if they ever pulled some shit like that again they would never have the chance to call the police for a welfare check because they would have no daughter. I would move and end any and all contact with them for good. Since then they have been fairly normal, a few missteps but they are human, and when normal they're amazing parents and good people. The only negative that eventually came from this entire fiasco was my fiance and I split up due to the stress and nonsense associated with all of this. So I lost a great relationship, but in the end they've never again done anything so crazy, so at least there's that. Thanks got reading, guys. Entitled Mom dumps cookies on the floor, gets forced to clean up after herself. The grocery store I work instituted a policy that lets us stay open an hour later for medical professionals and emergency services. You know, nurses, and the people who respond to 911 calls. We close to the general public at 9, and from 9 to 10 is supposed to be a time for the aforementioned people to come in and shop unobstructed. Also thought I'd mention that we open an hour early for senior citizens. Unfortunately, Karen had her own interpretation of this policy. M. Karen, typical haircut, mid-30s. M. Manager, 6'5" inches, easily 300 lbs. West African immigrant. Not the type of guy you want to mess with. It was 9:45 p.m. 15 minutes until close, and I was restocking eggs when M pushed her cart, filled to the brim with groceries. Her newborn baby was sitting in a car seat in the front of the cart. M. Ahem. Me. Hello ma'am, how can I help you? M. Where are the cookies? Me. They're in aisle 12. Would you like me to take you to them? M. Yes, that would be good. Since aisle 12 is pretty far from the eggs, I decided to make some small talk, since we were trained to do that. Me. I think it's really great what you guys do for society. M. Thanks. Me. So are you a nurse? M. Oh no, I'm a mom. Moms are the most essential workers, wouldn't you think? We weren't allowed to call people out for not being an EMT or something, so I agreed. We got to aisle 12, and she started taking cookies down from the shelf and putting them in her cart. As she was walking away from the shelf, she bumped it with her cart and the entire shelf of cookies fell down. I had spent an entire hour leveling that shelf and now all my efforts were gone. And instead of apologizing and helping clean up, she said oops. I'd help but I have to get going. My kids are waiting at home. And just walked away. Just to clarify, the shelf itself didn't fall down, but all the cookies did. I knelt in front of the pile of cookies, defeated. I started putting the cookies back up as her cart squeaked away. I would have gone after her, but my store is very committed to the whole the customer is always right thing. I started putting the cookies back up, which would honestly take another hour and a half, because of the sheer amount of cookies on the floor. About 15 minutes in, my manager comes by and freaks out about the cookies. But then he realizes that Flagmatis wouldn't just knock down all these cookies, right? So he asked me, what happened? Me. Some lady bumped her cart into the shelf, and everything fell down. M. What? Me. Yeah. So I'm cleaning it up. Don't worry, I'll be fast. M. Oh hell no. Where did she go? Me, down the aisle. He took off. Like sprinting. I didn't follow him because I wanted to finish the cookies before my shift ended, so the following interaction is secondhand from one of the cashiers. He managed to catch her going out the doors with her cart full of groceries. This was about 10:05 now, past close. Hey you. Yes. My stoker tells me you made a mess in my cookie aisle. Why? I don't know what you mean. I wasn't even in the cookie aisle. I can see the cookies in your cart. I'm sorry. I need to go. I'm an essential worker. What kind of worker? A mom. My mother, back in Nigeria, she worked 12-hour a day after my father died. And she still have time afterward to clean up her messes. No really, I have to go. Go clean up the cookies. But who will watch my baby? And my groceries? You can bring it with you, so your baby can learn how to take care of his own messes. Reluctantly goes with and comes over to the cookie aisle, where I'm still slaving away. Phlegmatis, get up. Me, okay. Turning to now clean up the mess. It took her until about 10:45, but it would have been a lot longer if hadn't felt sorry for her, and so he and I started helping her. At the end she apologized to me and she actually paid for some of the broken packages. We helped her take her groceries to her, where apologized profusely again. I'm happy there was actually a good ending to this, and Karen ended up learning her lesson and apologized. I just wish it was like this for every Karen. TL. Dr. Karen knocks over a bunch of cookies, ends up forced to pick it all back up, apologizes. Why won't you let my kids harass your pets? You're so selfish. Welcome to another episode of My Boyfriend's Cousin is an Entitled Asshole. The events of this post happened in the spring of 2018. My boyfriend and I went to his parents' place to spend the weekend and we took our pets with us. My cat and 2 dogs and his cat and dog. We were just sitting around chatting, laughing with his parents and sister, when BF's cousin came over unannounced, with her 3 kids in tow. This was the second or third time I was meeting this woman and the first time I was around her kids. BF's mom asked cousin if everything was okay. She just smiled and said, oh, cousin's husband will be out of town for the weekend, so I thought I'd come over here with the kids. They were getting bored. I suppose it didn't cross her mind to call first. Then she saw me and commented, oh, I see your new girlfriend is here too. BF's parents tried to introduce me to her kids. I'm guessing between the ages of 6 and 10 at the time, but they just ran off to watch TV. That's fine, no biggie. We all tried to make small talk, even as the television was turned on at a deafening volume. My BF's dad had to tell them to turn it down. After we had had lunch, is when trouble started. My dogs and cat had been asleep when cousin and her kid came in, but now they were up and having a little snack and were noticed by the said kids. They instantly demanded that they be allowed to play with them. Now, my pets are not used to being around kids and I didn't want them to be harassed, so of course I said no. But apparently, these kids had never heard the word no before. The oldest one, a boy, kept trying to pick up my cat who jumped up on my lap for protection. The middle one, a girl, tried to grab one of my dog's ear and the youngest, a boy, tried to climb on my other dog's back. All of this happened within a span of no more than 5 seconds. I decided to raise my voice a little and told them to leave my pets alone. They looked shocked and the youngest one began to cry. The others, BF, his parents, his sister and cousin, were in the next room and came running when they heard the commotion. The kids who was crying went bawling to his mommy and told her how I was being mean. The other 2 said they wanted to play with the dogs and cat and I wouldn't let them. Cousin decided to get in my face and asked how dare I yell at her kids. I told her to calm down and that she needed to teach her kids some manners and how to interact with animals, and told her what her precious angels had been doing. She didn't think her kids' behavior was problematic because that's what kids do. She then proceeded to yell at me about how awful and rude I was being. This is when my boyfriend jumped in. He made her back off with a stern "do not raise your voice at her ever again." Cousin has always been a bit intimidated by my BF and this shut her up. BF's parents and sister backed us up and told cousin she should teach her kids to be kind to animals. from the way they were talking, and as my BF told me later on, this wasn't the first time cousin's kids had attacked someone's pet. My BF's sister's dog at the time was really old and his parents had gotten a puppy a few months earlier. The kids had been told, in no uncertain terms, that they were not to go near them. The rest of the weekend was a mix of fun and awkwardness. The awkwardness was due to BF's cousin who made it a point to stare daggers at me and my pets. Thankfully BF's parents' house is enormous and our room and cousin and kids' room was on different floors, so we mostly just interacted with them during meals. BF's parents have a separate room for pets. It has several beds, toys, cat tree etc that family members' pets can use. During our stay, all of our cats and dogs would hang out in this room and cousin's kids were banned from it. BF's cousin complained several times that it was such a waste to use such a large room for pets and that it should have been a kid's room so her spawn could play in it, even though her kids had infested the rest of the house. I remember thinking what a Karen. Over the years, this woman has lived up to this name. Do you like this type of video? If so, consider subscribing to Reddit community. We upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.